Take a landscape artist from Canada, Dominik and put him on a motorcycle. Well, try to put him on a motorcycle and send him to Bolivia for 6 weeks to paint some stunning scenery.
Hola.
Then take his buddy, Scott Wilson, a travel writer who never shuts up. Put him on another bike, and what do you get? Well, you get lost. You see, the GPS stopped working and the map wasn't worth a crap. Having said that, when they got lost well and met some great people, ate some fantastic food, and saw what they came for: changing landscapes. Follow along as Dominik and Scott rip through Bolivia, from the Altiplano to the Andes, from dubious river crossings to time out in the Amazon, from street carnivals to salt flats, and from a road of death to a mountain full of silver. Bolivia is a dream, an old-fashioned dream full of grinning characters, stodgy food, and where adventure is the norm. It's one of those places you'll want to go back to over and over and over again. "6 weeks in Bolivia." And yes, believe it or not, they're still friends.
Cheers.
This is Changing Landscapes, Bolivia.
We're in this little town called Apolo, and we're supposed to be heading to another town, except we had a little problem.
There is no road.
Okay, we have a National Geographic map which says there's a road, but
Well, the National Geographic is all about adventure and exploration, and the road shows gravel, but it does not exist. It's in a projection.
yeah, they're making it. So, anyways, we're gonna try a different road. We're heading out. We had a little problem yesterday. I had a slow leak on the front tire. We got that fixed this morning for a grand total of what, $2.50?
That's right, it's amazing.
$2.50, and I'm wearing the same jeans. This is day 19. I think Dominik's wearing the same pants since he left Canada.
That's my office pants, that's for painting.
Little did we know it, but today's riding was going to be the most demanding of the whole trip.
Okay, we're in the middle of the sticks and we have a toll here. 5 bolivianos? So 10 for 2? Okay, 10 bolivianos for 2 of us.
There was the usual gravel, but there were also a couple surprises in store for us.
All right, we've been faced with an interesting proposition here. Hola. So, Puerto? Yeah? Por aquí? Okay, so this big thing here says there's a new bridge, but the new bridge isn't ready yet, so you can either go across the river or you go across here. This is suspension bridge! Have fun, buddy! Alright, we can go for a swim now. Oh, we deserve it.
Here is the Nomadic bull washing his pants. He hasn't washed it for over 2 weeks. Look how brown the water is already.
We're still here, but as you can see, the rains have come. But you know something, it's not bad, because when we're up in the Altiplano, the rain was hail. Down here it's warm, and actually it's quite pleasant.
Nice change.
Yeah, we're just going to have to watch the roads now, because obviously they're going to be a little slick.
Oh,
Rommel.
yeah.
Okay?
Bolivia is in the throes of a huge roadworks program. We could see the evidence everywhere. Trouble was, nothing was finished yet, which made life, well, rather interesting, like their ferry service.
So I'm taking my boots off because I don't want to get them soaked, and I ain't riding straight up, so we'll see what happens. Definitely one of the more interesting crossings we've had to date, eh, Dominic?
Ah, for sure.
All right. That's how they do it in Canada.
This hadn't been our original planned route. That route was sidelined at Apollo, where we found out that the road on the map hadn't even been built yet. So we had to wing it, which meant heading to Memperi and Caranavi through the guts of the Andean foothills on roads that weren't even on the map.
All right, Mr. Modlinski, you're up.
Switch it on.
Yeah, we're rolling, buddy. Rock and roll.
Yeah, it's quite different.
BC ferries. All right, I'll see you on board, okay?
Yeah.
Bueno, eh?
Oh.
Here we go. Hey. Okay. You want me to get it? No, shut it down. Okay. Dominic, you got that for a sec?
No.
Hang on. You in gear here? Okay, there we go. Hang on. Okay, una, dos, tres.
Ahí nomás. Ahí nomás.
See? Hey, bueno.
Ah, gracias.
Yeah, gracias. Woo! All right, that was a bit dodgy.
I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't quite make it. Nearly.
Yeah, you got it almost.
I was just too tall.
Yeah,
Couldn't hold it.
yeah. Well, hey, Dominic, we were lucky the bike didn't go off. If that had gone in the water, we would have been here all day. So that is the new bridge in the distance. But one of the locals was saying that during the flood, the span on the right, like this is the bridge under construction, but the span on the right-hand side basically collapsed with the flood waters, and you can see the damage there. It's quite extensive.
It's going to be a while till they build a new bridge.
Gonna be a while, yeah.
Moto, vendémelo, moto.
Okay, you're not supposed to ride in bare feet.
You're not supposed to do lots of things that we're doing here in this country.
Empujando, corriendo. Capo.
That's the loco.
Loco.
Ah, sí. Whoa!
Mano. Calma.
There you go on the other side.
Gracias. Oh, there we go. He's going over. Now you can see where Dominic's modified the front end of his motorcycle here with some of the Barco.
Oh, Wow.
Okay, this is kind of what happens when you travel, I guess on the ski slopes you'd say off-piste. And we're off-piste in Bolivia, and you reach the intersection, and this is what you see. There's Mr. Medlinski. So, we have a road that goes to the right, and we have a road that goes to the left. No signposts, but we have a hunch that it's the road to the left. According to the GPS, we're nowhere.
Yeah, we are not on the road, nothing. But I see Mapiri. But yeah, I have a... The golden rule is if two people have two hunches, same hunches out of three, you go with that. So there is no third guy, so we go with that.
Okay, we're back at the same intersection. And you know, there you go. We ran into a couple of guys walking down the road about a kilometer up the road. We asked, is this the road to Mapiri? And they said, no, back the other way. This is pretty cool. I mean, we're all stuck out here on this rock bar waiting for a ferry in the middle of Bolivia. Over there, we have lights. Looks like the ferry's coming.
Today was a definite slog. Apart from the usual gravel and switchbacks, we had to deal with water in a serious way. Sometimes you can just ride through some of the shallower rivers, but the others, like this one, you had to wait on a ferry. It was quite the laugh, and whenever we ran into problems, the locals were quick to jump in and lend a hand. In total, we took 2 ferries like this today and 3 rickety bridges. And of course, miles of gravel.
Whoa, look at that river go! Whoa! All right. That's one more for the records. That's the 3rd one today. What are your thoughts, Mr. Medlinski?
Well, they need to improve the steps on the ferries, you know. That's what I would put in my client complaint, you know.
Okay.
Well, my bike is pretty top heavy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm an average guy, so I do the best I can.
All right. Here's the Nomadic bull.
And the Zen guy.
And we actually made it to Mapiri.
Mapiri, yes.
Quite an adventure, eh?
3 river crossings. I dropped the bikes 3 times by now, yeah. 2 on the ferries. That's all good. And we got to some kind of a Catholic hostel. They're looking for a room, but looks so far the cleanest looking hotel. I will see how it is inside, but it looks pretty impressive.
Expertly planned tours complete with maps, GPS files, and area information. Roadrunner is the most comprehensive resource for motorcycle touring and travel. Read, discover, ride.
The next day there was, well, wait for it, you got it, more gravel. But we finally made Caranavi just after dark, where we found a great hotel, and it was a real luxury getting cleaned up.
All right, so Klein says waterproof for life. We're gonna check it out. Oh my! All right, this is hey, it's not waterproof. It's going inside. We did 11 hours today on the motorcycle. The last 3 days, we've basically been riding non-stop. Today we did 11 hours. We managed 173 kilometers. That gives you an idea of what the roads are like here. Basically, I've never eaten as much dust in my life. Roughage. But no, we made it. That's the main thing. And what are we? We're in this town called Caranavi. And we rode into this town, and it's really cool. Because I guess a lot of these towns are kind of like based on the Spanish model with a large central place or square. And everyone was out. You know, mamas, papas, children having ice creams, milkshakes. It's really cool. It's a very social thing. So we're trying to get sorted out, dressed up so we can go in town and join the party. All right, Mr. Modlinski, do you want to explain what we're doing?
Well, we are having another meal because I didn't have lunch and I used my head a lot today. I was painting, so I burned a lot of calories. And those hamburgers, they're quite thin, eh? Very thin, very different. Actually, you can taste them much better. Much more tasty.
I'd just like to explain to Mr. Modlinski that like food, it's not like the phone on a rollover plan. Just because you missed lunch doesn't mean you had 2 meals at dinner.
I don't understand.
He's just gonna eat. So we have the hamburger. Hamburgues.
Sí.
A papa frite.
Papa frita.
Papa frite. And these are very good. Scott Wilson and Dominik for Canadian Broadcasting News. Reporting live from what's the name of the town? Caranavi, Bolivia. And we're about to have a new president elected, and it looks like it might be Evo Morales. Oh. Meanwhile, we're having shakes. All right, Mr. Modlinski, any comments? Busy. Loud. Apparently, it's going to be a party tonight. When we planned our trip to Bolivia, we hadn't known about the national elections. But once we were there, they were hard to ignore. The front-runner, Evo Morales, was so popular with the indigenous population it was hard to believe anyone else was running. Caranavi was the ideal town to watch the process. And before you knew it, we were rubbing shoulders with the national media. Fancy that, and we left our press passes at home. Now there's something I haven't talked about yet, and that would be our linguistic skills. Basically, neither Dominik or I spoke Spanish. There were a few words, but our communication skills consisted of ear-splitting grins and vigorous head nodding. Whenever someone asked us something, anything for that matter, we'd grin and nod. Grin and nod, and 9 times out of 10 a door would open. This particular door led us into the Caranavi Mass Party headquarters. MAS, which is short for Movement Towards Socialism, was Evo Morales' party, and they were on fire. Now they must have known we weren't fluent, but they played along enthusiastically anyways. Besides, they had something to say and we had a camera. So even if we didn't understand, I guess they figured someone could translate after the fact. Viva Bolivia, viva Canada! All right, yeah! All right, gracias. So, remember our greeting? If in doubt, grin and nod. Here, case in point. Look at that. I mean, Dominik's a pro. You think he understands a word? Not a chance. Grin and nod. Whoop, whoop, wait for it. There you go. There you go. Grin and nod, just like a pro. Oh, coming out. Oh.
trouble was, when the doors opened, half the time we didn't understand what was on the other side. From the headquarters one moment to marching through the streets of Caranavi the next, one door led to another. We were on the way to, well, we didn't actually have a clue, but it looked promising. And guess where we ended up? In a hall full of passionate Bolivian locals celebrating their party's victory. This door opened onto a stage where we took up residence opposite the national media to report on the night's great events. What a gas! We didn't have to understand the language to get the gist of what was going on. Evo Morales was elected for his third term as president, and the folks at Caranavi were out to party. Join us next time as we head up the Beni River into the Bolivian Amazon basin for a 3-day jungle adventure. We'll check out the wildlife, hike the jungle with our guide Wilman, and drink a local cocktail made from sugarcane harvested right on site.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Cheers, buddy.
And on our final day, we'll build a raft and float back down the Beni. To buy this series, go to changinglandscapesbolivia.nomadicbull.com or click the link in the description below. All paintings created during the filming of this series are available for purchase on Dominik's website at www.paintingjourneys.com. And if you enjoyed this show, here's the trailer for our Vancouver Island series, which is also available for purchase. Why is it that whenever we feel the need to go somewhere exotic, we get on a plane and leave? What's wrong with our own backyard? What's wrong with Vancouver Island? Well, as it turns out, nothing at all.
Wasn't for sure that it was in fact an island.
Vancouver Island is as exotic as it gets, but it's a different kind of exotic. It's not palm trees and margaritas. It's giant cedars and single malt. It's a pristine and wild exotic.
Fish whisperer and sardines, they're on camera.
Hi, my name is Scott Wilson, aka the Nomadic Bull. Join me and my good buddy, Dominik Madlinsky, the Zen guy, as we explore our island.
54 and 50.
We'll head up north and meet Joey and learn about Cole Harbor. We'll take in a potlatch in Alert Bay and we'll ride the rails in Port Alberni. And maybe we'll just have a tipple or two. We'll meet great locals, hear fascinating stories, ride through stunning scenery, and wallow in a beautiful wilderness setting. Vancouver Island is a gem, our gem, and it's time to share it. This is Changing Landscapes Vancouver Island.
So here's the Nomadic Bull and the Zen guy.
And the acting base commander for CFB Esquimalt. today.
The museum is open to the public Monday through Friday, 10 till 3:30.
And admission is by donation, well worth it. Go and check it out.